Hey, what up? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I'm Hushman, and in this video I'm going to talk about the most important question in the universe, which is how can we stop a train in GTA? But before we start, I really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel for more videos. I upload videos about indie games I have played, games I have made, and any videos that's somehow related to video games. Yeah, I'm a big fan of video games. I love playing them and I love making them. So I really appreciate it if you subscribe to my channel. You won't be disappointed. Yeah? I mean, I try not to disappoint you. But I will try harder if I see you subscribe to my channel. Anyway, let's talk about how can we stop a train in GTA or break down a tree. For the last decade, so many people tried so many different ways to stop that goddamn train. But every single time they all failed. But don't worry, today I have the answer. Today I'm going to answer this question and show you how can you stop a train. Are you ready? The answer is... Well, to be honest, I don't want to break it to you, but I will. It is impossible. Yeah, you heard me right. This is impossible to stop a train in GTA. Stopping a train in GTA is like moving a mountain in real life or making a vessel fly in the sky. It is impossible because of physics. But why or how is it impossible? Let me explain. Each game needs a game engine to put all the models and mechanisms in it. A game engine does everything you see and you don't see in a video game, like the light, gravity, and force. And how exactly a game engine simulates gravity and light in it? By using the physics law. And since a game engine is going to recreate the physics law from scratch, they can create new forms of physics that don't exist in our world, like kinematic and static. Now the question is, what are kinematic and static? Well, let me explain. Have you heard about the third rule of Newton? To every action, there's always a reaction. Well, this rule doesn't work for kinematic and static object. Let me tell you why. Static is an object that remains stationary and no force can move it. Nothing. No matter how hard you push it, how much force you add to this, you can't move a static object because it's impossible. Do you want to see an example of a static object? Well, buildings, statues in video games, and also trees in GTA. And in real life example, I should say nothing in the entire cosmos is static. As I said, since developers are going to recreate the physics law from scratch, they have this opportunity to create features and rules that don't exist in our world, such as kinematic and static. And I should tell you, nothing in the entire cosmos is static or kinematic. Nothing. Because by having enough force, you can move every single thing in the entire universe. You even can move the planet Earth. The second question is, what is a kinematic? Kinematic is the exactly opposite of static. It's a moving object that no conceivable force can stop it from moving or even slow it down. A good example of a kinematic object in video games, well, you guessed it right, the train in GTA. That's the reason why no one managed to stop that goddamn train. Because that train is a kinematic object. It moves, and nothing and no force can stop it or slow it down. By the way, for your information, I should tell you there's also a third type of physics, that this one exists in our world. Its name is dynamic, and dynamic is a type of physics that follows the Newton's third rule. It responds and reacts to every force it receives. This video can be a good example. The left object is kinematic and is going to move right, and the right object is dynamic. And now what? Just watch.
dynamic physics of our dynamic object, that force acts on the dynamic object and it falls down. The kinematic object, we have a movement into the right direction. So if we enable kinematic, the object moves and it collides with the dynamic object and moves the dynamic object. Notice that there is no impact from the dynamic object to the kinematic object.
Now let's get back to the topic. There are so many videos on YouTube about people who desperately tried so hard to stop that goddamn train, or use every conceivable way to break down a tree. What they didn't know was they were trying to break the unbreakable physics law. Now you might have a question, which is what happens if a kinematic and static objects collide? Kinematic an object that never stop and nothing can stop it. A static, an object that nothing can move it. What would happen if we put these two in the same line? Well, you shouldn't ask that question because it never happens. This question is like you ask what would happen if a triangle had 4 angles. It never happens in real life because nothing in the entire universe is kinematic or static. They all are dynamic. But what about video games? We're not talking about real life. We want to talk about video games. Well, what will happen if kinematic and static objects collide in a video game, like putting a tree in front of a train in GTA? The answer is they wouldn't collide. Let me say it again. Static is an object that nothing can move it, and kinematic is an object that nothing can stop it. So when you put them in the same line, they simply pass through each other. Let me show you a video. This YouTuber put some trees which are static in front of a train which is dynamic to see if the train breaks the trees or the trees stop the train. And the result was this. See? This is why nothing can stop a train or break a tree in GTA. Because it is impossible, because of the type of physics they have. The only way to kind of change it, for example, to stop a train or break down a tree, is using cheat codes and change their physics from kinematic and static to dynamic. In that case, yeah, it is possible. But normally talking, stopping a train in GTA or breaking down a tree is impossible. It's like moving a mountain. Physics doesn't let you. And that's it. It was the answer to the question we always wanted to know. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. You are incredible and amazing. By the way, I upload videos about game science, game news, indie games I have played, indie games I have made, and if you want to see more videos from me, please subscribe to my channel, click that bell icon. Until another video, take care of yourself and never forget that you're fantastic and fabulous.